When you hear the phrase Oscar-winning villain, you probably picture something specific. Something like Heath Ledger laughing as a Joker, or Anthony Hopkins savoring every word as Hannibal Lecter. That's what the Academy usually rewards, a brilliant and loud performance that refuses to be ignored. Javier Bardem won Best Supporting Actor for doing the opposite. He won it for maybe 15 minutes of screen time, in which he barely raises his voice, never explains his motivations, and spends most of his scenes standing completely still, while other people drown in the silence he leaves behind. To me, this is what an Oscar-winning villain actually looks like when the screaming stops. So let's break down the anatomy of Anton Chigurh in No Country for Old Men, and see what makes his performance once in a generation. I think it starts with motivation. What is Chigurh doing in this film? The plot is simple enough. Llewellyn finds a drug deal gone wrong in the West Texas desert, takes a briefcase with $2 million, and spends the rest of the movie running. Chigurh is the man sent to recover the money, but recovering the briefcase only explains why Chigurh enters the story. It doesn't explain why he keeps going. Somewhere along the job stops being just a job and becomes an expression of something else, a principle he serves more faithfully than he serves any employer. Actions have consequences, and Chigurh finds a way to make those consequences feel impersonal. Sometimes he lets the coin decide, then treats himself like the person carrying out a result rather than choosing it. That was Bardem's real challenge, playing a man who is handed his moral responsibility to a quarter and feels no conflict about it. He gives Chigurh an unnerving sense of peace and leaves the audience to feel everything he doesn't. You can see it in 3 choices Bardem makes before Chigurh says anything memorable. Let's start with the way he moves. His shoulders sit heavy and slightly rounded, his arms hang loose, and his pace barely changes no matter what's happening. He crosses a crime scene, a hotel lobby, and the space between himself and a man he's about to kill with the same steady rhythm. Bardem once described Chigurh as comfortable, and that word explains almost everything. He never looks tense or ready to strike. He looks completely at ease, which makes the audience carry that fear instead. The second choice is his voice.
I'm looking for Llewellyn Most.
It's flat, unhurried, and slightly lighter than you'd expect from a man his size. He asks the gas station clerk about the most he's ever lost on a coin toss, with the same tone someone might ask someone when the store closes. That restraint is the technical heart of the performance. Most actors signal the threat before it arrives. Their breathing changes, their jaw tightens, eyes harden, and the audience gets a moment to prepare. Bardem never actually gives you one. The words are threatening, but the voice remains calm. His calm tells you the outcome has already been decided. The third choice is his eyes. Chigurh makes eye contact with people he's about to kill, but it's not the eye contact of a man issuing a threat, more like the eye contact of a man memorizing a face. There's this uncanny curiosity in it, something almost clinical, almost tender. The captive bolt pistol he carries was built to kill cattle, and Bardem looks at human beings the way a slaughterhouse worker looks at livestock, with professional attention and no hatred at all. He sees the next task and wants to do it correctly. The gas station scene is where all these 3 choices finally operate at once. Chigurh pulls in off an empty highway and walks inside. There's an old man behind the counter, appearing mild and bored and making conversation the way rural shopkeepers do. Chigurh buys some cashews and starts eating them. The sound of the wrapper is the loudest thing in the room. I think this is Bardem's first move, filling the silence with something small and organic and kinda rude. The clerk makes a passing remark about the weather, mentions the rain, then Chigurh stops. He turns the small talk into an interrogation without ever changing his tone. The clerk starts to sense something is off, but he cannot name what. So he does the thing frightened people normally do. He keeps talking, keeps filling the silence, and Bardem lets him. Then he asks the clerk if he's married. The man says yes, and Chigurh follows with a stranger question.
What's the most you ever lost on a coin toss?
The clerk has no idea what he means, and Chigurh never explains. He only tells him to call it. When the clerk asks what he stands to win, Chigurh says,
Everything.
The clerk insists he never agreed to wager anything. Chigurh answers him almost gently.
You've been putting it up your whole life, you just didn't know it.
In that moment, Bardem makes the ritual feel completely sincere. Chigurh believes this coin has spent 22 years traveling toward this counter, carrying the weight of the clerk's entire life with it. He's not playing with this man. To Chigurh, this is the closest thing the scene has to faith.
All right. Heads then.
The clerk calls it correctly and unknowingly saves his own life, and Chigurh barely reacts. There's no relief, because Chigurh never cared which way the coin landed. What crosses his face is closer to satisfaction that the ritual actually worked.
Well done,
He says, with the quiet respect of someone whose faith has just been confirmed. Then he tells the clerk to keep the quarter, and warns him not to put it in his pocket, where it might get mixed in with others and become just another coin, which of course is exactly what it is. The last line tells you almost everything about him. The quarter matters because Chigurh has decided this moment gives it meaning, and once the moment passes, it goes back to being ordinary metal. He offers that idea to the clerk almost like a kindness, which only makes the scene more unsettling. Here's what separates Bardem from the other Oscar-winning villains I mentioned at the start. With Ledger's Joker, you can see the ideas forming. You watch him calculate, improvise, and enjoy the chaos he creates. Hopkins gives Hannibal Lecter a different kind of pleasure. He savors the manners, the little courtesies, the feeling that he's always the smartest person in the room. Chigurh offers none of that. Bardem never lets you see the decision being made because by the time he enters the scene, it already has been made. Most villains give you a flicker of choice before the cruelty arrives. Chigurh feels like the consequence of a choice being made somewhere off screen. The only suspense is whether you understand what he's decided before it reaches you. He always seems one step ahead, as if he arrived at the end before anyone else. Near the end, Chigurh visits Carla Jean and offers her the same coin toss. She refuses.
I ain't gonna call it.
Call it.
The coin don't have no say.
For the first time, Bardem lets a little uncertainty reach Chigurh's face. The coin only works if the other person agrees to treat it like fate, and she won't. Her refusal doesn't save her, but it takes away his excuse. Soon after, Chigurh is nearly killed in a random car accident. There's no principle behind it and no ritual to explain it. He limps away wounded, and for the first time the film lets him look ordinary. Just a man who was never as separate from chance as he believed. This is where the performance settles under your skin. Chigurh is frightening because certainty can look a lot like strength from a distance. Most of us hesitate. We revise ourselves. We wonder whether we have misread the room, misjudged a person, chosen wrong. He never does this. Bardem removes every visible sign of that internal friction, every hesitation and flicker of doubt, and the absence of it is what begins to feel inhuman. You keep waiting for some trace of doubt to appear, but it never does. Carla Jean strips away the story he tells himself, and the car accident reminds him that chance was never his to control. Bardem leaves us with a man who has removed every hesitation that makes the rest of us human, only to reveal that those hesitations may be the very thing holding us together. Javier Bardem won Best Supporting Actor for playing a man who never asks himself a question he hasn't already answered. This is what an Oscar-winning villain actually looks like. And a decade and a half later, I still think about The Walk more than I think about the killing. The way he moves through the world like it already belongs to him, like he got here first, and the rest of us are just catching up. Maybe that's why Chigurh stays with us. Most of us spend our lives hesitating, revising ourselves, wondering whether we have chosen wrong. Bardem removes all of that, and what remains looks powerful until you realize the hesitation was a human part. Thank you all for watching all the way to the end. If you enjoyed the video, leaving a like helps more than you might think. And if you'd like to see more, I would be incredibly grateful if you subscribed. This is still a very small channel, and I'm building my dream one video at a time. Every person who comes back makes this dream feel a little more real. Thank you so much for being here. Cheers.